Welcome everyone to another video on CSS Grid. Today we are going to see a very small trick to simplify your life when you're dealing with grid layouts. So in our case, we're going to build a backdrop for our model because we're going to build a small login screen. And for instance, we want to have like a drop shadow on top of the whole UI. And then we'll build the model on top of this and so on. So one of the way you could do it is to just use grid area here and say, for instance, 1, 1 to start on the top left of your page. Then you need to, if I look at the browser, you go here on the line numbers and you say, okay, I want it to go until the eighth line. And I want it to go until the 5th column line. So you would go like this and you would say, okay, I need to go to the 8th line and I want it to go until the 5th. So if I save this, you'll see now that we have our after element is actually covering the whole grid. So if I go here and I toggle it, you see it works well for our backdrop. But this line counting, whatever, is not very convenient because if you were to change your grid, if you wanted to go and refactor your layout and stuff, you might come in a situation where you just add a new line, for instance. And let's say if I save this, there you go, you add a new line, and now your footer is not covered. So I want you to look a little bit closer now, and if you look at the line number that you have here on the left, first row, second row, third row, and so on, you'll see on the right here, maybe my camera is on the way, let me move me a little, there we go. You see you have also -1 here, -2, -3, and so on. And basically how it works is when you define your grid like this, or you define how many rows and how many columns you have, so you explicitly define them, you have access to this minus notation. And basically it is -1 is the first line starting from the last one and sorted backwards. So if we come here, we can use -1 and -1. So here it will work just fine, basically going from the first row, first column, to the last row, last column. And this works just the same if I was to go here and say -2, you see I just don't override the footer. If I go -5, I don't override the main and the section, and so on. But most likely you're going to use -1. And that's it for the small tips. Tomorrow we are going to see how to center elements within a grid, and you'll see it's super easy to actually vertical and horizontal center elements within grids. So I hope to see you there. Cheers!